Hello, everyone. Today we're doing 6.6, a rectangle and a rhombus. Definition of a rectangle is a parallelogram with one right angle. So since a rectangle is a parallelogram, all of our properties of a parallelogram are still true. So therefore, opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles are congruent, consecutive angles are supplementary, and diagonals bisect each other. So those are all the same properties of a parallelogram because a rectangle is a parallelogram. Now, knowing that it's a rectangle, we have two more unique properties to a rectangle. So if I have ABCD is a rectangle, then I know that all my angles are right angles. So this is one of our new properties. And I know that not only do the diagonals bisect each other, but the diagonals are congruent. So in my diagram up there, I know that AC is congruent to DB. Next, we're going to talk about a rhombus. So a rhombus is a parallelogram with two consecutive sides congruent. So that means I have a parallelogram, but these two sides are congruent. And in fact, in a rhombus, all four sides are congruent. So since a rhombus is a parallelogram, we still have all the properties of a parallelogram. Opposite sides parallel, opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles are congruent, consecutive angles are supplementary, diagonals bisect each other. Now in a rhombus are three special properties are that all sides are congruent. So in a rhombus, all the sides are congruent. Also in a rhombus, the diagonals bisect the angles. So what does that mean? So if I have rhombus ABCD, I draw my diagonals AC and DB. That means that AC bisects angle DCB and it bisects angle DAB. It also means that DB, oops, I don't know why I wrote a C in there. DB bisects angle CBA and angle ADC. Last is that the diagonals are perpendicular. So if I say these intersect at E, that means that I form four right angles at E. So that means that DB is perpendicular to AC. So again, it's really important in this unit that you're memorizing all the properties of all the shapes. So now using our properties, I want to figure out the missing angles and then choose the best name and then find the missing angles. So if I look at number one, I know it's a parallelogram because that's given. And I see that right here we have a right angle. So since it's a parallelogram with a right angle, that means it's a rectangle. Now, if I know that that angle up there is 18, that tells me that the measure of angle 3 is also 18 because alternate interior angles. I also then can conclude that since the diagonals are congruent and they bisect each other, that these all form, those are all congruent. So up top here, we have an isosceles triangle, which means that this angle is 18 as well. So to find the measure of angle 1, I do 90 minus 18, which equals 72. Then to find angle 2, I know that this triangle over here is isosceles as well. So that means I can say that 180 minus 72 equals the measure of angle 2, which is 36. And then angle 4 is its supplement, because those form a straight line. So the measure of angle 4 equals 180 minus 36, which is 144. So I want you to pause, and I want you to try to do the same idea with 2, 3, and 4. So number 2, I know it's a rhombus because I know it's a parallelogram and all 4 sides are labeled congruent. So because it's a rhombus, I know angle 2 and angle 3 are 90 because the diagonals are perpendicular. I also know that angle 4 and angle 1 are 59 because I know the diagonals bisect angles and the opposite angles are congruent. Number 3, I actually figured out angle 2 and angle 3 first because I know it's a parallelogram. So that means angle 2 has to equal 30 because opposite alternate interior angles. And angle 1 has to equal 60 because alternate interior angles. Therefore, I know that this is a rectangle because I know this is a right angle down here. 30 plus 60 equals 90. So now knowing it's a rectangle, I know that angle 3 has to be 60 because in a rectangle, the diagonals are congruent and bisect each other. So that gives me a nice isosceles triangle. And angle 4 is 30 for the same reason. Number 4, again, I know it's a rhombus because all four sides are congruent. So that tells me angle 4 equals 90. Also tells me that angle 2 and 3 are equal because the diagonals bisect. And they have to equal 68 because opposite angles are congruent. Then angle 1, I just use this top triangle up here because I know this is a right angle. So 1 and 2 have to add to be 90, so angle 1 is 22. Number 5 tells me that HIJK is a rectangle. So the first thing I do, which is the hint I gave you, is to draw a rectangle. Find the value of x and the length of each diagonal. So it's telling me that HJ, which is the diagonal, is 3x plus 5, and IK is the other diagonal. Well, in a rectangle, I know the diagonals are equal. So that means 3x plus 5 equals 5x minus 9. So 2x equals 14, 7 equals x. And then I need to find the length of each diagonal. So I really only need to do one. And do HJ is 3 times 7 plus 5. So that's 26. So now for number 6, it's telling me FGHI is rhombus. GI is 8. FH is 6. Find the length of a side of a rhombus. So in order to do that, I need to remember 2 important properties of the diagonals of a rhombus. First is that they form at a right angle. They are perpendicular. Second is really of a parallelogram, is that the diagonals bisect each other. So that means up here, I create a right triangle where the legs are 3 and 4. So to find the sides of the rhombus, I'm going to do the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is the side opposite the right angle. So it's 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. So 9 plus 16 equals c squared. Take square root of both sides, and 5 equals c. And that's the length of one side. And all the sides of a rhombus are equal. Number 7, quadrilateral PQRS has those vertices. Show that it's a rectangle. Well, to know that it's a rectangle, I could show that I have 4 right angles, which means I want to do the slope of all 4 sides. So what I want you to do is I want you to graph it and then find the slope, which remember slope is change in y over change in x. So pause and do that. So I found the slopes. PS is negative 2/3, QR is negative 2/3, PQ is 3/2, RS is 3/2. So therefore I know PS is perpendicular to QR, I know that QR is perpendicular to RS. Oh, I said QR. I meant PR. Sorry. PS is perpendicular to PQ. QR is perpendicular to RS. And PS is perpendicular to SR. And the one I forgot is PQ is perpendicular to QR. Because slopes are negative reciprocals. And therefore, PQRS is a rectangle. All angles are right. So next, I have this quadrilateral, and I want to show it's a rhombus. Well, the easiest way to show it's a rhombus, or the most logical, is to show all four sides are congruent. So I want to do the distance formula on all four sides. So the distance formula is d equals x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So please plot this and show that all four sides are equal. Okay, so I did all the distance formulas and I found they're all 5. So therefore, AB is equal to BC is equal to CD is equal to AD. All lengths equal. And thus ABCD is rhombus. All sides congruent. Okay, so that's the end of our video. If you have any questions, please let me know in class tomorrow.